All right, welcome to a brand new series. I think a solo mock draft. I'm gonna probably do two of these. This is after the move that Dante Moore just said that he is not declaring for the draft. He's re-entering college. So I'm using uh, a website that I can trade, and I wanted to do um, two mock drafts because one was intriguing and the other one was like interesting. So that being said, the Raiders are on the clock now. Everyone has the Raiders going quarterback Fernando Mendoza. I I can see it obviously, but I want to be I want to switch it up a little bit, and I actually want to do a proposed trade with the Jets. And with the Jets, they have so many draft capital and they have so much. Where are the Raiders? Why am I tripping right now? With the Jets having so many draft capital, they have the second, they have the 16th, and then they have three first round picks next year, including themselves. They could go out there and make a move and possibly trade for the 101 and move up one spot for Mendoza if the Raiders don't like Mendoza. In my opinion, this is probably a good move for the Jets and the Raiders. If you're the Raiders, this is kind of like a Jason Tatum scenario where they're gassing up the first overall pick Mendoza, but they're like in deep down, they like Ty Simpson or the Ole Miss quarterback, or they wanted Dante Moore, but he fell off. He declared for next year probably. So that being said, I'm gonna just go with these three picks. Possibly it could be like a Justin Fields, Geno Smith flip. So the Raiders have Justin Fields as a quarterback, but that is what I'm going with right now. And the Jets at the 101 will pick Fernando Mendoza. With the Raiders at the 202, they aren't picking here. I believe. Ah, no. At the 202, since they have the 16th pick, they're going O lineman, and they're just getting Spencer Fano. It's rare to see a O lineman go at the 102, but it happened before, and it's gonna happen again. And they need to build that O line behind and get someone to protect their future quarterback, as well as getting a good O line for Ashton Genty, in my opinion. With the 103, the Cardinals potentially goes quarterback with Ty Simpson or goes running back with Jeremiah Love. A lot of people have that shout. Uh, I think Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. with the great tight end pause. Uh, Trey McBride. Those three are great receivers, so they don't really have to go wide receiver or tight end. They could go O lineman. I could see them go O lineman, but I think they're gonna go Alvaro Reese here. This is probably the best defensive back and best defensive player. Possibly Ruben Bain will be up here as well with the Cardinals. Depending on who they really get as a head coach is kind of what the telltale sign is. I don't know who they're gonna pick up as a head coach, so let's see. With the Titans, I kind of like Ruben Bain here because of the fact that you have Ruben Bain, you have Jonathan Simmons. This is a great 1-2 punch. I was debating on going Cardinal Tate here just to get Cam Ward his wide receiver one, but if you really think about it, they could kind of um they can kind of move up late in the first round, if anything, and get like Chris Bell or Denzel Boston. Obviously, there's a tier to it, and there's a bigger jump to it, but there's really decent wide receivers in this class, so I don't see them really being aggressive on that side of things. With the Giants, man, they need everything. They just signed John Harbaugh for a 5-year, $100 million deal. Great for them. I could see them going Francis Mayo. I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. Or Caleb from Utah. But I feel like this is going to be. Damn. I was thinking maybe Carnell Tate here as well, but this is possibly Mansour Delane spot. They need corners. They really need corners. Their wide receiver core is okay, and I think there's going to be a good wide receiver free agency class, as well as they have their quarterback Jackson Dart. They have their running backs. They possibly Kendrick Sadiq. But having him at the 105 will be kind of diabolical. I could see them moving up, possibly mid-teens for him. But that being said, Mansour Delane in the corner spot. I could see them also moving back, possibly like to the Dolphins spot, and try to get some draft picks out of there. But as of right now, we are not doing like dramatic trades. I just wanted to do the first two. Again, this is way too early because a lot of these players are not even declared yet. Dante Moore just said no, right? So who knows if half of these players are actually going to declare and who's not going to declare. So that being said, the Browns, this is Carnell Tate. This is them running to the podium and get Carnell Tate. If you consider Shedeur your franchise guy, your franchise quarterback, you need to get a franchise wide receiver for Shedeur. Their running backs is great. They have Harold Fannings as a tight end. Pause. On the defensive side of things, maybe you can get Kendrick Falk and kind of pair him up with Myles Garrett, but I don't really see them doing that. I think they're going to go offense. And depending on who they get hired as a head coach, that's another thing. Washington needs edge. Kendrick Falk is right there. I think they're going to go Caleb Downs here. I think this is where a lot of people are saying Caleb Downs might fall to the mid-20s or even 20. He's the best player in the draft, other than, Jeremiah Love and Alvaro Reese. You're getting him, right? You're getting the best player. I think Caleb Downs is great. I think he will be a great defensive guy. And on the edge rushing side, you have a ton of edge rushers here. I mean, and you can move up possibly. They don't really have a second because of the Houston trade with Jeremy Tunzel. But again, getting a defensive guy with a defensive head coach would be great. The Saints. I think this might be. I think Peter Woods is great here. I think the defense is aging really badly. This also could be kind of Kendrick Falk. But probably be Kendrick Sadiq. I feel like Kendrick Sadiq would be a great add here. I think Kendrick Falk is going to be here as an edge rusher, and that's how it is. Overall, I think this is a rebuilding team as a Saints. If you're Saints fans, you got to rebuild completely and kind of shed out of the older generation of that team. Guys like Alvin Kamara and so forth and so forth. So it is what it is. The Chiefs, man, Jeremiah Love would be perfect here. So Jordan Tyson. I feel like Jordan Tyson would be a great rebuilding wide receiver because you don't really need to expect a lot from him, but you have Rashid Rice and Xavier Worthy, and you kind of need to build off of like what's gonna happen after Travis Kelsey retires. Jesus. But I think this possibly be an old lineman scenario. Thinking if they're like if there's a team that's like willing to trade up here for like Jeremiah Love, I don't really see it. Maybe the Rams. Like, I don't really see it. That's the thing. Um, Possibly the Bears would make a trade here. I don't really. We don't know. For now, I'm just gonna stick with Jeremiah Love. I'm gonna try to find someone that can like be a trade suitor for Jeremiah Love, and I think the Chiefs overall needs draft assets and just overall players and picks. So that being said, I don't really see them sticking at 9. I could see them moving back up, maybe in like the mid-teens, maybe like the Ravens moves up, or possibly the Raiders move up and get Ty Simpson here. But as of right now, I think Jeremiah Love is a great player. He's probably the best offensive player other than Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson has injuries, so forth and so forth. But Jeremiah Love goes to the Chiefs. Jeremiah Smith possibly might go to the Chiefs next year as well. Bengals. They need so much on defense. It's ridiculous. Peter Woods. Simple as that. They are probably going to trade a bunch of their players away and they need to shed salary cap tremendously. I don't really see a reason for them to not get the best player on the defensive side of things, like a D tackle, and kind of just build through the trenches. Who knows if their head coach Zach Taylor is going to be there for next year and onwards. I mean, they're keeping Zach Taylor, but I'm saying like mid-season or whatever. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Dolphins. I think this could be. I was thinking my plan was Jamar McCoy here, but I was thinking guard as well. I was thinking the Penn State guard. Another team that I just need to see who they hire as a head coach to kind of give me like what their bias is. I'm gonna go offensive lineman just because they're probably gonna stick with Tua, and they're probably gonna stick with Waddle and all these other guys, and you know Achane. They need to build around Achane and stuff like that. So it is what it is on the Dolphins. They're on blowed up territory for me, by the way. Cowboys, Sonny Styles. Simple as that. I think this is a perfect fit. The Cowboys have 2 first round picks. This is going to be the boring pick that they're just going to be like, all right, we don't really need him. They kind of do, but go get the boring pick, and then maybe the next pick they're going to go flashy. If Jeremiah Love fell to the Cowboys, they'll be picking him here and then do a boring pick afterwards. But Sonny Styles, best player, boom, boom, and boom. Rams. It's weird that they have tight end and wide receiver. They're great with those two. This is the Atlanta Falcons pick, so I could see them moving back for if someone wants Jordan Tyson or David Bailey or someone like that. It is Caleb Lomu. I can't pronounce his name. I can't pronounce half of these guys' names. Lomu. Just increasing that beefy O line for Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford has 2 more years in him, Possibly he'll play out his contract. Who knows? A lot of people saying like this might be his last year. I don't see it. And this will help guys like Kyron Williams, and Matthew Stafford with Puka Nacua, and probably Devontae Adams for another 2 years is great. Ravens. This is different, right? I was thinking David Bailey here. But with them having a new head coach, or they're gonna hire a new head coach, it is going to be interesting. If they go wide receiver, like I think Jordan Tyson will be great here too. Him and Zay Flowers will be a good 1-2 punch. But I think I'm gonna go David Bailey here just because their defense is really bad in the beginning of the year, and obviously they kind of recovered a little bit. They just need to like I don't know if blowing it up is a good idea, but again, best their need is defense, and who knows like what their head coach will be, and who knows what their motion will be, like what if they're going to be competing still with Lamar, if they're going to do like a soft rebuild and kind of like shed out the older players, similar to like the Saints in a way, and similar to the Chiefs technically. But yeah, David Bailey, great edge player. He's a bit weird, and I think his arm length is a bit shorter, so he might fall depending on how the draft combine works. I think a lot of these players, I think a lot of this draft class is going to be risers and fallers, right? Like we know what the 101 is going to be. We know what the 102 is going to be, blah, 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 blah. Right now, obviously, but when the draft combine happens, when the interviews happens, you're just going to see a bunch of these players. I really think a guy like Malachi Lemon will jump up and possibly be the number 1 wide receiver off the board, right? We might see another running back coming off the board in the first round. We might see 3 quarterbacks jump off the board in the first round, right? A lot of people say Ty Simpson's his first round quarterback. But that, who knows? But, Chamberlain might jump up too, right? Kendrick Sadiq might drop, might fall. Might fall to the 3rd round. Who knows? A lot of these tackles, a lot of people are saying tackles and O-linemen this is the weakest class there is. But again, sometimes this might jump up to some of these offensive linemen might jump up to a top 5 pick, right? So I would like to say this is way too early, but I also like to say we got to see how they are. I think David Bailey might be that type of guy who he might fall, but right now his stock is super high because Texas Tech went similarly far in the playoffs, and he looked decently well. Buccaneers tight end. I'm gonna go Kendrick Sadiq. I think this possibly, this will help Baker Mayfield, and I think if they let go of Todd Bowles in the off season or mid season or whatnot, it might be blow it up season with the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield 31-32, but they have a super young wide receiver in Ibuka, and then they have basically everyone else that's getting older, like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I was thinking maybe possibly Jordan Tyson for the Buccaneers, and have the combination of Jordan Tyson and Ibuka kind of like mentoring Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. That'd be a good one too. But you're filling in a need with Kendrick Sadiq, and I think he's a really good player. I think he's a top 10 talent. The problem is there's not that many teams that really need tight end, right? Like they need other things to kind of fill out their teams before they even like blink at tight end. I was also thinking maybe like an edge rusher here, but again, there's so many edge rushers, and there's so many old linemen that's decently well that you might get in the 2nd or 3rd round if you're the Buccaneers. Now the Raiders, they traded out this is the Colts pick, right, from the Jets, and I think this is possibly Ty Simpson here. This might be Jordan Tyson, right? Uh, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. I'm kidding myself. This is Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson is a really great player. A lot of people like he was technically the best quarterback before even Mendoza in this class, but he just fell off so hard because that's just how it is. It is what it is with him and a lot of quarterbacks, but his expectation is not high like Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza. So he might be put into a great situation. I don't see him starting week one if they have Geno Smith. They might play Geno Smith a couple of weeks and then start Ty Simpson ahead of them. And if you're the Raiders, you're probably going to move up in this spot and get a wide receiver to pair up with Ty Simpson, potentially. Lions really need offensive tackle, and they're getting that guy. Maui Noah, Francis, I'm going to call him Francis. He can play guard. He can play tackle. I think he's going to play more guard than anything, and the Lions lack that this year. There's rumors that Arthur Smith is going to be their offensive coordinator or Mike McDaniels. If it's Mike McDaniels, that's great for Gibbs and St. Brown stock. If you guys do fantasy, I might do a mock draft for Dynasty soon. Check that out soon. But this is essentially a stepping stone. This is a dig in the trenches. They don't really need wide receiver. Possibly, I was thinking a corner here for the Lions, but they're really on the cusp of being a playoff team. They were winning their division like a couple of years ago, so I'm surprised that they kind of lost out. Vikings. Can they go wide? Can they go quarterback? Can they go Carson Beck? Can they trade away JJ and whatnot? No, I think this is going to be corner. I have them as a contender to moving up to get a guy like Caleb Downs. This is probably where Caleb Downs, like if he ever fell, this is where this is the stop probably, right? Maybe the Ravens if they want to pair him up with their safety. Excuse me. But I think Jermichael McCoy is their guy here. With the Vikings having a lot of draft pick, I think I can double check there. But with the Vikings getting a lot of draft picks, they need to get a lot of DBs and they need to re-up that defense. Possibly their defense coordinator might leave. Who knows? And they might retool that offense a little bit, just a little bit. I was thinking maybe wide receiver for the Vikings with that Jordan Addison scenario happening. Allegedly, he was like drunk or whatever, and he refused to get arrested, something like that. Allegedly, who knows? But you know, with the Panthers had a good season actually, interesting season. Now, this is probably year 4 for Bryce Young, and he needs to step up. Can you get a guy like Jordan Tyson and pair him up with, Bryce Young, and you have the rookie, so forth and so forth. I really think they're going defense here. I think they're going to get Arian Terrell. They need another defensive guy behind their best corner. I don't know why I'm blanking here, but I believe Jesus. Why am I blanking here? What is his name? Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. JC Horn. Sorry, JC Horn. You got to pair him up with JC Horn. I apologize. I don't know why I couldn't think of JC Horn. But I was thinking Jordan Tyson with McMillan, with Jalen Croker, and with Leggett will be an interesting move. But defense is so hard. Like you saw, if you saw that Rams Panthers game, the Rams were still choking. Like they're struggling because like Matthew Stafford couldn't throw for shit for that game. But like it was a bad sloppy game for both sides. So like Arian Terrell, JC Horn will be a great 1-2 punch for the defensive side of things with the Cowboys. Oh man, man. My pick was T.J. Parker here, with Jordan Tyson falling, right? And I think Jordan Tyson will fall because of his injury history. I think Malachi Lemon's going to be a Cowboy. I think they're going to let George Pickens walk because that contract is going to be too big for them. They potentially might franchise tag him, but even then, the franchise tag market is really bad for wide receivers. Drafting a quarterback, drafting a wide receiver like Malachi Lemon is a great 1-2 with Lamb. It will free up some of the routes that Lamb needs to do, and then it's great for Malachi Lemon because a lot of people look at Lamb as as the threat, but with Lemon there, it's great. Jordan Tyson, again, I would love to put Jordan Tyson in the top 5, if anything, maybe ahead of Carnell Tate, but the thing is his injury history is so bad, I don't know what he can do. With the Steelers are a situation that I think they're going to blow it up. I think they're going to actually trade away everyone and just reset. That being said, they need a lot, and I don't really know who is gonna be there. I like Caden Proctor as a guard, maybe. McDonald as a D tackle is possibly there, but I think they might do Caleb Banks and just double down on this defense. You have a aging roster. Your head coach just walked away. Aaron Rodgers might retire. This is going to be an interesting offseason for the Steelers. Chargers, Caden Proctor, 100%. They need a guard. Their O-line is terrible. If you guys watched that Patriots Patriots game, that playoff game, it was hard. Justin Herbert looked really bad, but also I just think that the hand injury kind of like ruined his fucking season, and I'm surprised they kept playing him. But it is what it is, and they just need rebound, and they get another offensive lineman. Their best 2 offensive linemen are coming back. They were out for the year, so we could see them kind of getting a lot stronger on the offensive line. Simple as that. Eagles. This is an interesting one. Now, I was thinking, hey, Eagles can go, defensive tackle. They can go lineman, blah, 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 blah. Jordan Tyson. This is perfect for them, right? You can trade away A.J. Brown, and I think they are going to trade trade away A.J. Brown, possibly getting an old lineman, whatever, going defense, whatever they need to do. This fits perfectly because Devontae Smith can be your wide receiver 1, Jordan Tyson can be your wide receiver 2, and then you can go kind of do a wide receiver hunting, maybe get a guy like Jerry Jeudy or something like that as your wide receiver 3. Now, the Browns, they really have everything, but they really don't. I'm gonna go TJ Parker here to just kind of like pair up with Myles Garrett. This is more of a swing pick for them. They went safe with Carnell Tate, and this is more of a swing pick. If this works out, this is going to be a great front core, this front four of the defensive side of things. Again, the coach, who knows what they're going to do on that side of things, and they need to figure that shit out bad. The Bears, they're having a great season, and I think they're going to go Colton Hood. I think they need a corner, possibly a lockup corner, and their defense is okay. They kind of like gave up a lot, and most of their games were like shootouts at the end of the year. You get a corner that can lock up a wide receiver 1 or even a wide receiver 2, and some of these corners are contract. They're up for contract very soon. Get another guy. Get depth. I think. I don't like again. They might go Coleman. They might go Emmett Johnson or something like that, or even Singleton, Nicholas Singleton. Like great running backs all around, and these guys might rise up. Again, like I said, another running back might move up and become available. With the Bills, a lot of people have them picking wide receiver. I see them hunting for a wide receiver in the free agency. Casey Concepcion will be a great wide receiver. But the problem is he's a bit too tiny in my opinion. And he's more of a route runner, and you don't really need like a for-sure guy. If Jordan Tyson fell here, I think they're jumping for him because you don't really need Jordan Tyson, but having Jordan Tyson will put you over the top. I think they're gonna go CJ Allen here. The defense is really old. They have Joey Bosa, who's like 33 or whatever. This is just gonna be a younger player that kind of filling that needs. Another team that kind of needs to shed off the older side of things and kind of go a bit younger. CJ Allen, right? I think a lot of these guys are defensive side, so you can kind of explain, you kind of see what is going on things. 49ers. Their defense is great, by the way. If Robert Saleh does not get a head coaching job this year, it is sad. Their defense is ran down, and they're still like stopping teams and players. That being said, I think they might go wide receiver here, and I think they might do a massive move with Brandon Ayuk probably going to be out the season. They're probably going to cut him, if anything, or trade him. I really think it's either Denzel Boston or Casey Concepcion or maybe Chris Bell. With it being said, they have Ricky and they have Christian McCaffrey. Like, you really think about it, I think Casey Concepcion fits this team a little bit more. He's a bit quicker and he's just a bit like all around. It just fits overall in the general scheme of things. Houston, this is my team, and I think this is an interesting situation if you're in Houston, because I wouldn't mind a wide receiver, right? Like Denzel Boston will be an interesting move if you can do that, because you have Jay Higgins, Nico Collins, and so forth. I think this is a spot where you can go one of these running backs, and it'll be like, oh, okay, John Coleman, one of these guys. If Kendrick Sadiq fell, this would be like the spot where it's like, all right, like he's not going past here, right? But I could see them going like Connor Leyu, right? Like, because they need offensive linemen. but I really think that it will be. Who was I gonna pick here? And I'm blanking right now. Where's this? Ah, yes. Um, I'm gonna pick guard. I'm gonna pick Emmanuel Progdot or wide receiver from O lineman from Oregon. They just need to bolster up that O line. You know how it is. I have been screaming this on top of my lungs in every podcast. Their offensive line sucks. Their offense kind of stinks. Um, it just this will be perfect for 6'5", 320. He might fall because maybe he's a bit too small, balls like arm length, so forth, blah blah blah. I think this is kind of like a reach here, but at this point you're not really doing much. And again, this might be the spot where a lot of people might move up. And Houston did it last year. They traded out of the first round just to get another second round pick from the Giants. Again, Houston might do it again for a guy like Denzel Boston. Some might move up for Denzel Boston. Speaking of the Rams, they went O lineman, and now they are gonna go possibly corner, maybe. Who knows? Now they're gonna go. It's either Chris Bell, in my opinion, or it's gonna go Denzel Boston. I think it might be Denzel Boston here, just cause this is kind of like a Davante Adams replacement, but I don't really see. I mean, they can also go corner here. I mean, they can also go quarterback here. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go Denzel Boston. Again, Davante Adams replacement. This is just adding depth. It's great. So forth like that. Patriots. Man. I would like to see Chris Bell here. Like one of these three teams, but I don't like the Raiders don't really have to move up because they're the 33rd pick, right? So what's another team that would move up for a quarterback, for a wide receiver? The Titans, maybe? Like the Titans will be great here. Actually, let's do that. The Titans, it'll be the 30th pick with the 35th, and then it'll be like that. Boom. Titans move up. Get Chris Bell. Simple as that. Boom. Easy. Broncos. I don't really see them need. They don't really need running back. Tight end will be great. I don't really like the tight end situation in a lot of these guys. Wide receivers will be great, but again, like Jacoby Lane might move up. Who knows? I think they might move back here, unless Anthony Hill is a riser. Possibly, like, I mean, yeah, let's do Anthony Hill. I like the last 5 picks. I don't really like because these are contenders, by the way, but they're also like like this is kind of like where the fall off is. Like this might be where some of these players, like I said, um, Garrett Nussmeier or even like some of these running backs might fill in those like needs. With the Seahawks, with the final pick, I don't see them going corner. Maybe because if their corner leaves, they might do that. Running back, do I really want to? Like these are great running backs too, but they have two running backs, so it's like I don't really see a reason why they would do that. I'm gonna go LT Overton because the fact is, um, the fact is, the Seahawks defense is elite, and I think they're just gonna stay put on the offensive side of things. They might go running back, right? Again, some of these players might fall, some of these players might rise, but at the end of the day, it is a way too early mock draft, and I hope you guys enjoy. I might shoot another video, and post another mock draft, and that would be another massive trade from the Jets, by the way. But yeah, keep me posted. Like, subscribe, comment. If you guys want to critique this and say, "Oh, you're wrong" or whatever, put it in the comments below. I will definitely reply. One of the boys might reply. I might do another mock draft with Jaw and Van and Garrett later on. But again, way too early mock draft. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much. Peace.